DJ Hoops back from another reaction video. Today I'm going to react to a video by Jimmy Highroller titled When You're the Best Player in the NBA, but Nobody Cares. So, this seems interesting. I haven't reacted to a Jimmy Highroller video in a while, and I had to check some of his uploads. This one seems interesting, so we're going to react to this one today. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and we're going to get right into this one.
MVP. Three letters that sum up excellence, dominance, competitiveness, and the spirit of winning. The NBA's Most Valuable Player Award is the highest individual achievement a player can accomplish in their career. Out of the tens of thousands of players to lace up in the NBA, only 35 have won a regular season MVP. But what exactly does value mean when assessing the league's most valuable player? Some would say it's leading your team to victory night in and night out. Others may say it's displaying your dominance through sheer numbers, points, rebounds, assists, that type of thing. You could even argue that a player's value comes in the form of his mere presence, the intangibles that don't show up in the numbers. But however you look at it, one thing is certain. Nikola Jokic has been the most valuable NBA player so far this season. And the gap between him and the next guy isn't even close.
Okay, well, let's see.
Today's video is sponsored by Raycon. Our friends
we got a
over
sponsor.
at Raycon have sent me a pair of their...
Fortunately, I'm gonna skip over this. Keep paying your bills. As Cash Nasty, my guy, would say. Keep paying your bills, Jimmy, but we're gonna have to skip over this one.
In 1997, nearing the end of his days with the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan had reached legendary status on the court.
Yeah, he
was widely recognized as not only the best player in the league, but as the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
The man wasn't even done yet. He led the league in scoring, averaging nearly 30 points per game on ridiculous efficiency. He made first team all defense, and he led the Bulls to 69 wins. Easily the best record in the NBA that season. With weeks left in the season, the MVP award was all but his.
Congratulations for enormous achievement, but congratulations, Karl Malone, 1996-97 NBA Most Valuable Player.
Why'd they just switch to Karl Malone real quick? They were just talking about MJ.
He thought the MVP award was his. But
oh, really?
The award went to Karl Malone.
Really?
A decision that, to this day, Michael Jordan can't believe actually happened. Everyone in the league knew Michael was the best and most valuable player. It was obvious. So how could even the greatest player to ever play the game get robbed out of an award that was rightfully his? Well, one being voter fatigue. Seeing the same player dominate year after year,
okay.
Voters will go out
they got tired of
to justify rewarding anyone other than the guy who was always rewarded. Which brings us to our second point. Narratives. More often than not, storylines, whether accurate or not, manifest themselves in the minds of voters and fans throughout the season, and these storylines tend to outweigh actual results. And no matter how much we try to stay objective on these matters, subjective narratives are bound to have an effect on all of us, even in the case of Michael Jordan. But Mike isn't the only player to get robbed out of an MVP. In 1961, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 points and nearly 26 rebounds a game while leading his team to the third best record in the NBA, and he didn't win the regular season
MVP.
My. In 2006, Kobe Bryant put together...
Well, let me check those stats. He said 50 points, 26 rebounds a game. Whoa, Bill Russell won. Most likely because, regular season MVP. Boston probably had the best record that year. But still, you gotta be giving him that. Damn, those stats for these guys back then, bro. Well, 50 and 26, bro, that's crazy.
In 2006, Kobe Bryant put together one of the greatest individual seasons in the century, featuring his iconic 81-point game and a 40 bomb every other night. The man finished fourth in MVP voting that season. But in Kobe's case, he suffered from what many other MVP candidates before him and after him have suffered from: a not-so-great record. See, in the 2006 season, the Lakers finished as the 7th seed in the West. A playoff team, but nowhere near the top seed. And in the NBA, there's a bit of an unwritten rule that if a player has hopes of winning the MVP, his team must be one of the winningest teams in the league. The standard almost always being no worse than the 3rd seed in their given conference. Throughout the history of the modern NBA, only 4 MVP winners finished the season with a team seeded lower than 2nd. and only one player has won the regular season MVP with a team seed lower than
Westbrook.
third. That player being Russell Westbrook in 2017. In that season, Westbrook was a very rare exception to the rule. In fact, so far, he's been the only exception to the rule. The first player in over 50 years to average a triple-double for an entire season.
Yeah, it was
a feat
historic.
that everyone unanimously said would never happen again. And a feat so incredible
Man.
that although his OKC Thunder only had the 6th seed going into the playoffs, he won the regular season MVP. But then,
Kind of
in the
missed
very
Russ
next season,
when he was on the
Russ
Thunder,
averaged
man.
a triple-double again. And yet somehow he
Kind of wish he
finished
stayed with the Thunder,
5th
bro.
in the MVP race. The inconsistency of the voting process was put on full display that season. Can a player, regardless of his team's success, put up numbers so ridiculous that the league has no choice but to anoint him as the most valuable player? Well, according to Russ's 2017 season, yes. And if we're following this same criteria, Nikola Jokic has easily been the league's most valuable player this season. I've heard talks of Giannis winning another MVP, Steph making a run for his 3rd MVP, Kevin Durant or Jimmy Butler being the leader in the race, but hardly anyone has mentioned Nikola Jokic being the most valuable
no
player
one
in the league
has.
this season. But all the numbers across the board point to the Joker as the league's most valuable player. In fact,
Hey, bro,
so far,
you
the
like
season
that.
he's having isn't just the best among his peers. Jokic is having one of the best individual seasons of all time.
Really?
Now, we're all familiar with the PER stat, an overall statistic of a player's efficiency and production on the court relative to the rest of the league. Here's a chart of the top 50 NBA players in terms of PER. Here's Kevin Durant, here's Stephen Curry, here's Giannis, here's Jimmy Butler, and here
Wow.
is Nikola Jokic. And if this spot looks almost unreasonably high, that's because it is. Nikola's PER this season is 35.3. The current single-season PER record is 31.9 set by Giannis 2 seasons ago. And the record before that was Wilt Chamberlain's PER of 31.8 back in 1962. In fact, here's the highest single-season PER Michael Jordan ever achieved. Here's LeBron's single-season record. Here's Kobe's, Magic's, Bird's, Shaq's, Kareem's. No player ever
Jokic
has
cutting
come
up right now,
even
bro.
close to the production and efficiency that Jokic is putting together this
Hey,
season.
well,
And
if he
we
keeps
narrow down the
balling, bro,
production to just offense,
gotta give
Jokic
that
is
man
still
his
head and
credit.
shoulders above
I mean, he
everyone
did win
else.
the
This
MVP
season,
last year.
Jokic has an offensive box plus minus of 10.1.
Hey, he even
The
doing
second
even
highest
better
offensive
this
box
year.
plus minus in NBA history,
Unfortunately,
trailing only Steph's
a lot of his team's injured.
2015-2016 season of 10.4. The next closest
Oh,
player this
got
season
an
is
eyelash
Steph
in
with an
my eye.
OBPM of 8.3.
2 of them.
In fact, only 9 players league-wide have an OBPM of even 5. Everyone on this list will either be an all-star this season or a borderline all-star. And even these all-NBA talents aren't even in the same stratosphere as the Joker. So if this man is having one of the greatest individual seasons ever, why is no one talking about it? The man is averaging 26, 14, and 6 a game on nearly 60-40-80 splits. And no
Jesus.
one is talking about it. Right now, the current MVP odds are in favor of Stephen Curry, followed by Kevin
Let me
Durant.
see these. Current MVP odds: Curry, Durant, Giannis, Jokic. It's gonna be a tough race this year, and this season's is looking good, man. Really competitive. Jimmy Butler, Doncic, Embiid, DeRozan up there. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Tatum, Harden. Yeah, LeBron. Yeah, it's a lot of guys in there. LaMelo's even up.
And then Giannis. Jokic is down at 4th with odds that suggest he is far from the MVP.
Those top 4,
This
though, that's going to
article's
be the
headline
race.
doesn't even mention Jokic, like he's some sort of afterthought. And if I had to say why this is, I'd say it comes down to a few things. First, Jokic hasn't had a marquee performance this season. You know, that massive game that makes all the headlines and demands fans and voters to reconsider their MVP hierarchy. Every MVP needs a marquee performance to really draw the masses and build their campaign. Second,
Yeah, I get
and
it.
the most obvious reason, Nuggets aren't doing too hot right now. With a below
Yeah.
500 record of 9-10, the Nuggets currently hold the 10th
They're
seed
gonna
in
have
the
to start
West.
winning more
A seed
games.
so bad that most fans won't even consider Jokic as a front runner in the MVP
I mean,
race.
but those
Because
stats
if a
though,
player is truly valuable, shouldn't
obviously,
his team be
those are
winning the
MVP
vast
stats.
majority of their games?
His
The
team
short
just has to
answer
start playing
is
better.
yes, but the actual answer to that question isn't quite as black and white. Because the Nuggets are winning when Jokic is on the court and surrounded by competent teammates. So far this season, in the 14 games that Jokic has suited up, the Nuggets have outscored their opponents by a combined 48 points. In the 5 games that Jokic has missed this season, the Nuggets have been outscored by their opponents by 62 points.
Jeez.
That means that with Jokic, the Nuggets are a winning team with an average margin of plus 3.4 points. Without him, they're a losing team with an average margin of negative 12.1 points. Sure, the Nuggets have a losing record at the moment, and they're far from a championship contending team. But without Jokic, they are downright atrocious. Recently, I asked a friend why people tend to downplay or downright ignore Nikola's excellence. And his answer was simple, but unfortunately, very true. His game is just boring. To the purest of basketball fans, the Joker's game is a work of art. He's brilliant. I personally love watching the guy play, and I'd even go as far as saying he's one of a kind. But to the average fan, Nikola's game is lethargic, slow-paced.
Yeah,
rather than all
no one
high-flying
likes that.
acrobatics and
It's the
30-foot
thing.
bombs other stars put on full display every night.
Hey, bro, he has the
Nikola's
full
excellence
package
is
right.
rooted in his ability to break down the
I mean,
game to its simplest
other than the
components and
defense,
exploit
bro,
the
this
other
man's
team
a
with his
wizard on the
uncanny
offensive
ability
end.
to see 2, 3, 4 moves ahead. But it's this very simplicity that deters fans from giving him the credit that he is due. Tim Duncan dealt with a similar problem his entire career.
Sure.
Timmy was so technically sound that he didn't need to be fancy. He didn't need a 45-inch vert or any sort of alien-like ability. He could dominate anyone with a handful of post moves, bank shots, and well-timed rolls to the basket. The man's nickname was literally the Big Fundamental. And because of this, it took years and years for people to truly see the immense value in Duncan. Nikola will shred a defense for 35 points and 15 assists without even getting a foot off the ground in the process. The man will appear to be
On
moving
God,
in slow
bro.
motion and still make your best defender look absolutely lost. He will alter a dozen shots on the defensive end without even getting close to blocking one of them.
That pass
And
was
you'll more than
nice.
likely never see one of these plays on
Fade is
SportsCenter
nice.
or your favorite sports social media
Yo, he just
outlet.
cooked
But when the
Gobert.
vast
See this,
majority
bro?
of fans get their information and form their opinions based on these short clips and highlights, it's no wonder that Nikola's impact, relevance, and dominance are undervalued. If you were able to somehow remove the hype and narratives from the MVP discussion, the race for the award would look something like this. And that's because this list is exactly that. Basketball Reference's MVP tracker, which gives a very objective
really?
look into
They
the
have one of
MVP
those?
race at the moment based solely on the numbers. The
Solely
only
on the
list
numbers.
where you'll find Jokic ahead of everyone else. But if the
Okay.
numbers you've seen so far haven't swayed you enough, Jokic's excellence doesn't stop at the
Alright, so
offensive end.
basketball reference. My bad. Basketball reference has Jokic, Curry, Giannis, Durant, Paul, Butler. Alright, looks about right to me. Gobert. I mean, Rudy's not gonna win, but defensive player of the year, he's gonna be up there. Draymond Green's in there. Harden, Booker. Okay.
Into the MVP race at the moment based solely on the numbers. The only list where you'll find Jokic ahead of everyone else. But if the numbers you've seen so far haven't swayed you enough, Jokic's excellence doesn't stop at the offensive end. With a defensive box plus
Really?
minus of 5 this season, Jokic is leading the entire
Really?
NBA on the defensive end by a massive
That surprised
margin.
me.
The next
I ain't
closest
gonna
player was
cap.
Draymond Green with a DBPM of 3.9 and then Giannis with 3.4. And believe it
Never
or
mind
not,
what I said about the
Nikola's
defense,
defensive box
okay.
plus minus this season is the second highest mark ever recorded.
Are you serious?
I am not exaggerating when I say that Nikola Jokic is currently having
Jeez.
arguably the
Yeah,
most
bro.
productive, efficient, and dominant season in NBA history. Now, how's that for value?
That's... Oh, that's the end of the video? Man, great video, Jimmy High Roller. Hopefully that opened the eyes of a lot of NBA fans, and people just start giving this man his credit. He did win the MVP last year, and this year, you look at the numbers like he just showed us, that those numbers are just incredible. So we'll see how the season plays out. Hopefully he could lead the Nuggets to a high seed and get them in the playoffs. Michael Porter has been out, so a lot of his work is gonna be done on his own. Hopefully he gets some help from guys like Aaron Gordon, Will Barton, but yeah, Nikola Jokic, man, he's that guy.